All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. Thank you for joining me for this post-game video following the Minnesota Vikings loss to the Baltimore Ravens by the final of 34-31 today in overtime. Here we go again. All right, before I start talking about the game, a quick reminder for everyone. Don't forget to leave a comment on today's video because you could potentially be featured tomorrow in the day after Baltimore. That is a video where we collaborate. There's our group collaborative project here on our small corner of Vikings internet. I make a video with your comments from today's video. So you will leave a comment today. I will potentially select it to be featured in tomorrow's video. I will react to it in tomorrow's video, and that video will be your comments, my reactions, our video the day after Baltimore. So fire away in the comments section. Remember to keep them short, concise, and to the point. About 4 to 5, maybe 6 sentences is usually pretty good. The screen caps can only be so big, so keep that in mind when you're leaving a comment, but let me know what you're thinking. Let's get the pulse of the audience so that we have a lot to talk about tomorrow. So that is out of the way. Let's talk about this game today and where we go from here. So, classic Vikings game. Classic 2021 Mike Zimmer-led Vikings game, right? 6 hours ago, I called this prediction, and I couldn't help but think that this was our destiny for this game today because everything was just adding up to be that sort of finish, right? And here we are. Justin Tucker connects on a field goal in overtime to send the Minnesota Vikings to a 3-5 record. And yeah, we're basically just repeating 2020 at this point, and it's just ridiculous. And you know, we're not a good football team, and I'm tired of hearing people say that because good football teams find a way to win games, and it seems like we only are capable of finding ways to almost win games. And it's just, I'm done. I'm tired of it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. This was one of the more frustrating games of the year because it's just proof of what we've been saying the entire season. And we're going to touch base on a lot of stuff. I wrote down in some notes today for this video so I could go over like the good and the bad, and the good section ends up here. The bad section is the rest of this. So not great. So let's begin with the opening of the game where we get through the infamous scripted first drive for the Minnesota Vikings, and we get a 50-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson, who just burns the secondary that looks absolutely confused, and he leaves them in the dust. And I was like, okay, wow, okay, yes, that's what, more of that, please. That's what I've been begging for. Please attack down the field. They get another drive. Dalvin Cook rumbles off a massive 66-yard run. We score another touchdown, and it's just like, okay, they've figured it out. 2 straight drives. They're up 14-3. Let's go. Okay, the Minnesota Vikings have figured it out. And then the offense disappears. Again, they don't get back until the end of the game for a 10-play drive that results in a touchdown only because they had to. This offense is a bookend offense where you have something at the end, something at the beginning, something at the end, and then nothing in between. And it's so frustrating to see star NFL players, Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the league, completely and utterly ignored for a majority of the game. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I have said that I want this entire coaching staff to be fired, and I want massive changes to the front office. I'm not waiting anymore. Clint Kubiak has to be fired before this team gets back to Minnesota. I don't care. I don't care what the optics are. I don't care that it's Mike Zimmer's best friend's son. It's ridiculous. The nepotism has gone on long enough because what this is resulting in is wasted time, wasted talent, and pretty much just a waste of everybody else's time because we have to sit here and witness this on a weekly basis where, you know, it's like Clint Kubiak goes home and he's like, okay, I've got an entire week to figure this out. You know, what's my game plan? And he's only good enough to be able to come up with the first drive. This time it happened to be 2, almost 3. And then he just has no idea what to do, just no idea what to do. And he's relying on C.J. Ham. We're throwing 27-yard bombs to our fullback on the sideline. It's just ridiculous. This offense is not good. I guess the one highlight out of it today is that we didn't notice the absence of Garrett Bradbury. I think Mason Cole was probably okay, and there's no point in Garrett Bradbury ever playing in a game with the Vikings again. I don't have any notes on Mason Cole, but that's just kind of the way that it feels. And then the thing that frustrates me the most about the offense, I'm actually getting off script here. I should probably start with the good stuff, right? So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's settle down. Let's talk about some good things to bring the blood pressure down just a little bit. So here's the good things. There's not very many of them. Thank you for the debut of the Kenny Nwangu game. First game that he is available off of injury. and he is as good as advertised as a special teams player. He houses a 98-yard kickoff touchdown to open the second half, and you know what? Thank God for that, because if he didn't, this game doesn't go to overtime because the offense couldn't put anything together. Our best offense in the second half was the goddamn special teams. And also credit to Ryan Ficken, the only coach right now after today that I would consider keeping, because the special teams has come a long way since the disastrous second half of last year. And you know, he's had his problems. Don't get me wrong; it's not the sterling review that most people think that it is. But at the same time, you know, we saw a fake punt today, got converted. We saw Kenny Nwangu put this team on his shoulders and give them a touchdown to open the second half. It's okay. Greg Joseph is hitting field goals, making kicks. You know, it's fine. I would be happy with Ryan Fickens. So shout out to him for doing a good job. DJ Wanham, Kenny Willix filling in for Tennille Hunter. I was surprised by how well DJ Wanham played today. I really was. I think all of the talk of Patrick Jones, where they were, mentioning his name in the press conference, comparing him to Everson Griffin this week, was done to motivate DJ Wanham, and I think it worked. Same thing with Kenny Willix. They activated him from the practice squad, has a pretty decent game. Shout out to Armand Watts, who's filling in, as best as he can for the injured Michael Pierce. And then also Cameron Bynum, who filled in for Harrison Smith today, because things that he's done that we're going to talk about later this week that I don't want to get into right now, comes away with a very nice diving interception. So the defense, for being as shorthanded as it was and giving up as much points and yards that it did, what else can they do? And that's part of the bad here. So the Ravens had 500 yards of offense in this game. Yikes. 247 rushing yards. We made Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell, especially at the end of that game, look decent, look like they're decent running backs. These are players that nobody wanted 3 months ago. Nobody wanted these guys. They weren't getting phone calls. They were stuck on the couch. And now they're running over a Mike Zimmer defense. Are you kidding me? 36 first downs for the Baltimore Ravens. Unstoppable. 46 minutes in time of possession. I also think they were 6 for 16 on third downs and 3 for 3 on fourth downs. We could not stop them, and the defense got gassed because the Baltimore Ravens held the ball for so goddamn long. And these defensive players that we talked about in the preseason, these backups, because there was that whole thing where we had to ward off Vikings fans who were saying, it doesn't matter, the starters haven't played. How about now? How about now, when all of the backups have to play, and they're having to play so much because the offense is anemic, right? The offense is anemic, and it's mostly because of coaching, but the offense is anemic, and it forces these defensive players who are all backups to go out there and stop a guy like Lamar Jackson for 46 minutes. It's too much. You can't ask them to do anything more than that. It is ridiculous. Other complaints, turning back to the offense. Of course, they disappear after the first 3 drives. We had a 14-point lead at one point in this game, and we completely blew that. There was a point where we had the opportunity to go up 21-3 in this game, and we could not do it. They cannot step on anybody's throats. And the offense doesn't come back until the end of the game. They need a 10-play drive for a touchdown at the end just to tie it, to hope to force overtime. And that's the only time when it seems like this offense comes alive. It's the first drive, maybe the second, and then at the end when their jobs are on the line. And this can't continue. The defense was shorthanded. I've already talked about that. Getting no help from the offense. Justin Jefferson is completely ignored again. I've said this at the beginning of the video here, but it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating how right Stephon Diggs was, and we're seeing it once again. And then the thing that drives me nuts, the coaching gaffes today, inexcusable. But the one thing that drove me the most fucking insane was at the beginning of overtime. Just to recap, the Ravens get they win the toss, they receive the kick, and then I was like, oh God, here we go. Anthony Barr comes up with an amazing interception where he tips it to himself, picks the ball off, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. We have a shot to win this game because we've both now had a possession. Next win scores. All they got to do is get in field goal range for Greg Joseph. That's it. You escape. But no, it wasn't enough, because when the Vikings took over on offense, they weren't prepared. Ben Lieber on KFan said that this offense, Clint Kubiak, was not prepared for that turnover to happen, so they didn't have anything ready to go. And that's why they had to call timeouts. They had to collect themselves. And of course, everything being off script and not perfect, that frustrates and frazzles Kirk Cousins. And then we have a 3 and out. We cannot capitalize on an incredibly crucial turnover in overtime to stop Lamar Jackson. We punt, we give it right back to him. They march down the field, they kick the field goal with Justin Tucker, who does not fucking miss, and that's the end of it. So that's my recap of the game. I am beyond frustrated. It's not that I didn't expect this team to win. I just, it sucks because every week that it's a 1-score game. Like, the only weird game of the season, if we're being completely honest, is the Seahawks game, because that was the only convincing win that we've had all year, and it's the only win where it wasn't a 1-score game. It's also the only game that didn't end in a 1-score, if I remember correctly. So it's like we're so close to being good, but it's clear as day that we're not good enough, and nothing's going to change until change happens. And I know Mike Zimmer's not going to get fired. I've been saying it, guys. You can stop with the comments about I want Mike Zimmer fired today. It won't happen. There might be an opportunity for him to, make a change and save his own skin if he gets rid of Clint Kubiak, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Wilfs are going to make a change in the middle of the season. And, I keep repeating my reasons that, they don't want that kind of attention. They don't want to be the first team to do it. They want to wait until the end of the year when everybody else is getting fired. And then that's when they go ahead and do it, because they have cover from all of the other stories in the league. It's not just, let's talk about the Vikings for the next news cycle. It's, they wait till the end. It's like, you got to cover 5 teams with new coaching changes instead of just the one. So that's why they're not going to do it, in my opinion. So I'd be shocked if it happened tomorrow. But Clint Kubiak has to go. He absolutely has to go. That has to be the first thing. If we were talking about the Minnesota Golden Gophers today, I would be emphatically encouraging a quarterback change, because Tanner Morgan has lost it. And I don't know what it has. I don't know if it's just because he needs a star wide receiver like Tyler Johnson or Rashad Bateman, who also, Rashad Bateman ripped us apart today. I don't know if it's that he needs a star wide receiver and it's just Chris Bell is just not that guy, but I would be advocating for a change because it's something you could do to maybe spark something. And Clint Kubiak, he's Mike Zimmer's best friend's son, and that's all that there is to it. So yeah, that's my long rant. You can honestly tell how I, toss the notebook because I don't need that anymore. You can honestly tell how I feel, because I'm not upset that we lost, but at the same time, it's just like, come on, it's so predictable. And speaking of predictable, that's another thing I can point to, is that overtime drive after the Anthony Barr turnover, where it's, an incomplete, and then, or was it an incomplete? I forget what it was. It was either a short pass or an incomplete, and then it was a handoff, and then the Ravens bring a blitz, and of course Cousins can't handle it because it's just asking too much on. I think he even said in the post-game press conference that those were long developing routes on that play, and they didn't have enough guys to block, which that's play calling. So here we are once again. We lose in heartbreaking fashion, and yeah, I really don't know what else to say. What is there to say really at this point? So next week, we go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. We are going to get eviscerated by Justin Herbert and that passing attack, because we're not going to have Harrison Smith for reasons I'm going to talk about maybe tomorrow. And a lot of people are not going to enjoy what I have to say regarding that topic, because I've made my stance known regarding this subject back during training camp when we had to talk about Kirk Cousins. So it turned out like it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for this post-game video. I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Ask me questions. I always like answering questions. That's one of the funnest things that I get to do with you guys. And I look forward to tomorrow's video. So leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.